Welcome to the Caribbean Edge. It's Reggae meets Black History Month. And I have some amazing guests with me tonight. But before I get into all that, I want to give a special birthday dedication for this show. So Michelle Hussein, who works behind the scene, her grandma turned an amazing 100 years old today. So we want to say happy birthday to Grandma Ruth Harrison out of St. Anne, Jamaica. She raised 9 children and currently lives in New York. So if you're watching, tuning in, everybody just says, happy birthday, happy 100th birthday. How many people don't make it 100?
100.
Good number. That is a very
and
good
then
number.
to our viewers, I must send deepest apologies from Mr. Freddie McGregor, who was also scheduled to appear tonight. However, due to a last-minute, unavoidable situation, he could not make the show tonight. So he does promises to come back and says his fans and to Caribbean Edge viewers, he apologizes sincerely. So we accepted his apology, and we know that we'll be able to bring him to you live one day, so in the near future. So thank you for tuning in tonight. Remember to share this episode. And we want to say a big welcome to Dr. Rosalind Osgood, who's taking time out tonight to meet with us. Welcome, Dr. Osgood, for your second time on the Caribbean Edge.
Thank you, Dawn. It's a delight to be here with you tonight, sharing this show with David and with Claudius.
I know, right? We had some little catching up behind the scenes. And it's amazing because David already knows Dr. Osgood. And so David, welcome back. I think you're like a permanent guest. Whenever we need you, you just make yourself available. What is it about the Caribbean Edge?
Well, apart from the obvious, I am the Caribbean just like you are. And so as someone who is extremely proud and very, really considerate of what it is to be from the Caribbean, to have that heritage, to have the culture as a part of who I am and what, basically all that the Caribbean offers is in me. I grew up and I lived in Jamaica for the first 27 years of my life. And I've been in the United States for 25 years of my life. So I'm getting to the tipping point. I'm almost even, Steven, but I still have more years in Jamaica. And so for me, why wouldn't I be? This is a great way to express my love of my heritage and where I'm from. And then additionally, it doesn't hurt to have a very beautiful and interesting host to ask us questions and to interact with. And quite honestly, I love causing trouble, and this show always seems to bring out some trouble in me. So.
As you can see, the night is starting out with laughter. Thank you for that, David, and for the compliments. You and I share an abundance of love for our beautiful country, Jamaica, and the Caribbean itself. And so I can't wait to just dig into what the amazing things that you're doing in the community as well. And Julia's agreed to join us today. Claudius agreed to join us today. And I'm so happy. This is your second time on the Caribbean Edge, and you're in Canada.
Cold.
Huh?
I'm saying cold Canada right now.
Cold, Florida cold, it's in its 40s.
Minus 2.
No, not as cold. Everybody here thinks I'm in Canada when I walk out the house the way I'm dressed. Because I have on the hat, the scarf, the boots, everything. So, I'm definitely not used to the cold weather. So welcome, and tell us about you for viewers that are tuning in for the first time. You're a songwriter, artist. I think you have a special treat for us today because you're in the studio.
Yeah, I'm a songwriter, an artist, a producer. Also, what you call those people who go into the world and leave a positive message for young people and community? What you call those people? Well, tell me, David. Tell me quick. Yeah. So I'm also a motivational speaker too. I actually go into prisons and schools and communities where I do a lot of encouragement to people. I've been doing that in Jamaica, Canada, America, Scotland, England. I've been doing that for the last 6 years. So. I like to bring my culture to people. So I go into schools. I've been going to schools, just kind of bringing the Jamaican culture, the Jamaican music. And I'm realizing how much impact we have as Jamaicans and by extension as a Black race on culture in this world and how impactful we are. So that's my little 2 cents. We know we'll get a little more into it later, but that's about me. I'm a person who's willing to just use purpose to change nature.
Absolutely. I remember when I started the Caribbean Edge, like about 3.5 years ago. And, a couple people that I was in conversation with about it said, are you sure you want to use the name Caribbean? Don't you think it's limiting you? And I was like, absolutely not. I'm like, that's my niche. That's my culture. So many people visit the Caribbean and want to be like Caribbean people and love our culture. And so I said, nope, the name remains Caribbean Edge. That's what it's about. I'm bringing the Caribbean to the rest of the world. And so, when you have an idea and, follow your instinct, your dreams and desires. And I am so happy, like I just fell in love with David's project because it's just along the lines of the love for the Caribbean and how much wealth we have. And I'm not talking about financial wealth only. I'm just talking about that deep culture, the music, the stories, everything passed down. And why, let that heritage die? Why not share it with the rest of the world? So I'm so excited about David's project. And I'm not sure why I'm not part of his board initially, but but I'm glad they're doing it, and he knows how much I love it. And then Dr. Osgood, I want to go back to you a little bit because I know for Black History Month, which has been celebrated for years in the United States. In 1926 is when they had the first Negro Week. And I absolutely hate that word, but it's a fact. And then in 1976 is when they recognized Black History Month. So it went from a week to an entire month. And it was 58 years ago since Martin Luther King's Jr. I Have a Dream speech, and 158 years since Emancipation Proclamation ending slavery. So, I want to touch base on Black history, how you feel about that. We've seen a lot of changes between 2020 and 2021 with our first female vice president being one. We've seen Black Lives Matter movements where our children, our parents, our grandparents were out there marching for change. And, just what you're seeing from an educational standpoint, which has been impacted by COVID. And I know I'm throwing a lot at you at once, but open us up and tell us, your thoughts, opinion, what you would like to see.
As we reflect this month on Black History Month, I think it also reminds us of the extreme presence of racism and just how systemic and real it is. Every day is Black history. We don't need permission to celebrate Black history. It's one of the horrible things that happened in the United States, even when we talk about teaching Black history, because most people only take it back 2,000 years ago instead of taking it back 5,000 years ago when people of color were kings, queens, rulers, and leaders in Egypt. Most of the basic religions come through those people of color. And when we understand our history 5,000 years ago, it does not start at slavery. People of color had a history prior to slavery, a rich history. They were entrepreneurs, they were mothers, fathers, they were leaders, rulers, kings, and queens. And then we endured the Middle Passage, and they threw off the ship at various places, in some instances to divide us, but more importantly, to bring us to America because we were strong, intelligent, smart, and we had the capacity to work like others could not work. So people of color have been the economic engine to this country for many, many years. And as we stand at this moment in time where we're seeing the outcry of racial tension, where we are seeing the sheets literally come off white supremacy and racism, it is a very, very interesting moment. It's even more interesting if you are an African-American woman. When we saw what happened at the White House a few weeks ago, and people were outraged and they went in and they had that riot and they tore up the place and they looted and they stole property. They didn't act like that or react to President Obama. It's even more egregious when you have a Black woman who is now the Vice President of the United States of America. And I would be remiss if I didn't say that she was my sorority sister, a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, founded in 1908 on the campus of Howard University, the first Black sorority for educated Black women. That sorority has produced numerous leaders and will continue to do so in the years to come. When I think about this year, particularly in Broward County schools, Broward County schools this year celebrates the 50th year of the integration of the Broward County school system. The Broward County school system is becoming more and more a minority majority. And when you look at the various things that have happened over the last 11 years, and that's key because that was when the county got its first African-American Jamaican school superintendent. And it's when the county really started to deal with not arresting kids in school, talking about Black male achievement rates, and doing things that were going to help all children succeed and feel comfortable with themselves. This year, I have the honor, my colleagues gave me the honor of serving as the chair of the school board. And I've served as the chair before, but it's different this year because we're in a difficult time with COVID-19. It's just like any other crisis that happens in America. It disproportionately impacts people of color, where we die at a larger rate. We are challenged when it comes to economics. And I could just go on and on. So as we celebrate Black history this month, we have to ask ourselves, what are we doing to make next year's celebration different and better? Do we let the knee that was on George Floyd's neck just go? Or do we continue to strive and be motivated by the pain that we all felt on that day from that incident that happened to Mr. Floyd? And if we really get honest, Don, we visually saw that knee on Mr. Floyd's neck. But as people of color, this country has constantly had its knee on our neck. Whether it's working in a job where you're not being paid properly, whether it's being discriminated against because of the way you wear your hair, whether it's the bright skin, dark skin thing that we're often pitted against each other, where you're the Black woman that they take at the seat of the table instead of the Black man. And I could just go on and on. So as we talk about Black history, it's very important that we empower our children and we let them know that the culture of Black people did not start with slavery. We were entrepreneurs. We invented algebra, geometry. I could just go on and on. And if this was a Christian show, I could go back to the Bible from Abraham and all of them and really mess you up with a lot of other stuff that came out of Egypt and make a real declaration about the power of Blackness. So we live in a world where we have to live with everybody. And if we try to give the same love that we want for ourselves and our kids to everybody, that's really how we make the world a better place. And finally, personally, I've spent a lot of time since what happened to Mr. Floyd talking to white people, because we have to educate white people about their privilege and about their fragility and about how good they have it in life and why things are so different for kids and people of color. We know that it's inequity, and we know that wealth is not distributed properly. He wrote that letter from the Birmingham jail, and he started talking about a redistribution of wealth. You know, people don't like those kinds of conversations when it starts impacting them in their pocket. But I think that God has positioned us for such a time as this to use our collective expertise and the power that he's given to us to unify. I was reading today from one of my favorite poets who was born by the name of Lysain Parrish Crook. And he writes this passage in this particular piece that he spits. And he says, move on, be strong with unity, because that's the only way to build communities. Lies are told, but lives must move on. And never stop. Open your mind to this rhyme and let it drop. And then he says, drop that, let knowledge drop. Now, you guys know Lysain Parrish Crook by Tupac. This year will be 24 years that Tupac was murdered. A genius, a kid who got caught up in the systemic systems of racism in this country and had to choose a life of crime in order to survive. I often say to myself, what if one teacher, one deacon, one business owner, one mentor had got a hold of Tupac? What would his life be like today? How would the world be different if we were able to see through his eyes with him not being a rapper? Because he's a rapper, we don't pay attention to the poetic justice that he brings when he spits and gives us the knowledge that he drops in the many songs that he wrote. So I am proud to be of African-American descent. I am proud for this moment in time for women of color. It is our time. We have worked. We have built. This country has been built on our backs. We have worked and we have not been paid and not been recognized and given our due. Now that the world gets to call an African-American woman Madam Vice President, it's something that we all can celebrate and be proud of.
Well said. I am so glad we had you on here, and you just like drew me in with every single word that you said. And I reflected on my cousin, Dr. Lisa Gunderson, who was actually on the show. And, you know, she said she took her kids to Jamaica because she wanted her kids, and this was years ago, to see what it's like that in Jamaica, everyone is recognized. I mean, we're not focused on the color of someone's skin. They're doctors, they're lawyers, they're presidents and everything. So it's nice to see that coming around. So that I reflected on that as you were speaking. And yes, $1 in wealth versus $10 to whites. These are a lot of the changes that we want to see happen. And it's a lot of people are making those choices, those healthy choices. I saw someone sent me a video today where a Black couple had someone come up to their home to do some work on the home. And apparently this video is now viral. And they had a Confederate flag on the back of the truck. And they said, no, I'm sorry. I know you took your time to come here today. However, I am not going to spend my dollars with you. And the person said, I'll take off my flag. And they're like, no, I'm sorry, I will not. And she was so professional, so nice, to be commended. So choices of, making change and impacting how you spend your money. And yes, time to reflect. And you gave us a lot to reflect on tonight. David, Claudius, any comments?
Well, I happily would just say to Dr. Osgood, of course, we loved all of what you shared tonight. I do think it's maybe one thing I'd like to say regarding Tupac. I think that he was impactful maybe more than you gave him credit for because surely you were seeing, how good he was, and reflecting on how good he could have been, having had the right deacon or teacher. But I do want to say that part of what makes him special, that he was someone who reached a different demographic because of how he presented, because of his history. And so his brilliance was able to move people who may not have wanted to listen to someone who had been more accomplished, and that they wanted the message from the rapper. So I do think that, it's just wonderful sometimes that we are able to have, such strength, such poetic words. And then, of course, the impact of music is tremendous. And I think that's something we can touch on overall today, because, again, this is Reggae Month as well as Black History Month. And I think both are extremely relevant, the music and the people of African descent. So.
Well said, David. Thank you.
Let me add, let me give you a round of applause, When you were speaking, I'm like, let me hear every word you say. I was in tune, but I must say that you said something about sharing with white people. And it's funny because earlier when I was saying about me going into like different countries to share, one of the things I do for the last 6 years, I didn't go last year because of COVID, but I go into schools in Scotland, and their Black History Month is October. So every October, I'm in Scotland, and I'm teaching all of these schools all over Scotland, from the northest part to the southest part to all over, about Black history. And the reason why is because if you notice the Scottish flag, is only 2 flags in the world similar, is the Scottish and the Jamaican flag. There's different by colors, right? And that's because Jamaica has more Scottish surname than, Scottish were the people who came to Jamaica and governed the farms, the plantations. So that intermingle. My surname is England, not Scottish. It's quite crazy. A black man with locks. My surname is England. Anyways, but Jamaica has more Scottish surname than anywhere else per capita, not even Canada, because of the influence of Scotland. So when I go back to Scotland every year and I work with a professor, Jeff Palmer, he's now the Consul General in Scotland. So I work with, he's the first Black professor in Scotland. He was born in Jamaica. He went to England when he was 14 years, and he's knighted by the king. He's Sir Jeff Palmer. And when we're going to the schools and I start to talk to the teachers about slavery, I realize that 90% of the teachers have no idea of about slavery. So when I'm talking to them about slavery, they're like, what? They don't know they know the little stories, but they don't know the connection between even Jamaica and Scotland, to know that many Jamaicans have Scottish roots, as Black as we may look, because of the rape and the wickedness that happened in there. But today I was actually talking to my wife and I was saying, one of the wickedest things is that we were brought from England. We were brought from Africa, sorry. The English brought us, the British brought us to Jamaica and put us on an island and lock us up there now. Beautiful Jamaica, nice little island. If we want to leave Jamaica now to go back to England, we have to go through all of these visa process and all this wickedness that me actually think. So when we stand up as Black people, this is a story. I'm gonna sing music. That's what I'm supposed to sing. that's what I'm supposed to be doing on this, right? But when we get to a point of view, the wickedness that the white culture has put on us, I respect every white person. I'm going to give them respect, because you can't talk to people unless you respect them. So when the wickedness of that, when we're talking about America, and I always say to myself, if Black America come together, if Black Americans are one of the most powerful Black people in the world, because of if they really understand how they stand. And I can always say that because of the influence that they have on culture and the influence that they have on so much different things, right? But when it comes to me talking to teachers in Scotland about Black history, I'm going to the high schools, I'm going to the university, I'm going to the primary schools, I'm going to the daycare. That's how I'm talking to them about slavery, and I'm realizing, but you know what I'm realizing in Scotland? Most of the people, they're open to hear. And they're actually saying to me, how can I help this process? When I come on this side of the world, them no have no sense to majority, because I go to Pennsylvania. I've been in Pennsylvania touring for 2 weeks, for nearly a month. I'm going to the Amish people. I'm going all over there. And I've been in Pennsylvania for 4 weeks, and I only see 3 Black people. And I'm like, how can you have this in America, where you have so much black people, Lancaster, all of those places. I'm like, only when you go into the city, you see it. I'm like, this is such a divided place. And this place runs the world. It runs what happened in Jamaica. How can a country like America tell me, who is a proud black man, who know business about white people, who know white person can't really talk to me? How I have so much pride in my blackness. And when I go to America, I see them cast the pointing fingers on me. I have so much passion in my blackness that I wish every black American could understand my passion and take it onto themselves. It would change the world. That's what I want to say in short. I do this all the time. I even tour in Florida already. I tour schools in Florida. And I want to continue to do that because I want people to understand when you're black and you're proud, and there's no competition between white and black. I don't know white person is better than me. They'll never be better than me because I am me and none of them. So when I can tell every black person that, and I go to every white people and say, you're not better than me and I am not better than you. But if you try to be better than me, I'll show you that I am better than you. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not better than you. You're not better than me. But anytime you try to be better than me, I'll show you that I am better than you. That's how we close that story. I want to go in that, but I don't want to take up this because I tell you, I've been struggling with this from I was a baby. My last name is England. So there's a whole heap of things. There's a lot of things that are tied in this conversation right now. When I heard you speaking a while ago, I'm like, man, I wish I could come to Florida and start the revival with you.
Mm-hmm. So when this is all over, you never know what's going to happen. Once we get through COVID-19, we'll see. That's what this show does, is connecting people as well, and just great conversation overall. I know, Supa, you say you're here just to sing. You're not here just to sing, by the way.
Yeah, I was trying to keep it to it, just keep it there, because I'm keeping the voice. Oh, la, 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 la.
So, David, so yes. Let's talk, because tonight you were supposed to sing. Are you singing tonight, David?
Not when we have Claudius. I don't want to compete like Claudius. I'm going to let the singer be the singer.
Bossa tune. Tell us what you were going to sing. Bossa tune.
No, tonight I'm going to take the platform from what you just said, Claudius. And I hear your passion. I love your passion. And I'm going to say, because Dawn has mentioned already that she's very passionate about our project. And I say our project, not David's project. Nothing that I'm doing is for David alone or even for David and his friends. It's for everyone to share in. And because I have this project, I want to just first start by saying, this is a project that Dawn has referenced. If you look at how I have spelled my name in the Zoom, you would see that my name is the Island Space Caribbean Museum. It is the very first in America. It is the very first in the world where we have a museum that celebrates the unity of the Caribbean. It is our contention that when we say the Caribbean, we mean all of the islands that sit in the Caribbean Sea, as well as the Bahamas in the Atlantic Ocean, as well as any country that sits against the Caribbean Sea, whether it be in South America or Central America, for example, Suriname, for example, Guyana, for example, Panama, for example, Honduras, for example, Costa Rica, for example, Belize, all of whom think of themselves as Caribbean nations. We are extremely welcoming for all of these nations to be a part of the story that we share at the museum. And even more so is to really just emphasize how much for us, what we are sharing is the heritage, the commonality in the culture and the heritage of all the people. I know that, Claudius, you mentioned how, your lineage came here as slaves. I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunate enough to have a Scottish last name in the name Muir. I didn't choose it. It was what was handed down. So just like how you have this name England, I have this name Muir. And in that name, I am very cognizant that it is of Scottish origins. I don't consider myself Scottish. I consider myself Jamaican. That's where I was born. My parents were born in Jamaica, both of them. My 4 grandparents were born in Jamaica, all of them. And my great-grandparents were born in Jamaica. That's as far as I know for sure. But having looked at my history and having participated in life in the islands and then participated in life in America. There are great things in both places. So I celebrate being American. I'm an American citizen. I still consider myself a Jamaican citizen because that's the place of my birth. And I, without question, consider myself a citizen of the Caribbean because it is a culture and a heritage that I have. So everyone who's on should really understand that what we have at the Island Space Museum is that we have a place of education. We have a place of information. We are sharing so that people can embrace the rich culture, diversity, heritage, all that is from the Caribbean. And that is what I'm here to talk about, Don. So even though I am happy to, if you really push me, I'm happy to sing a song. But the truth is that I really want to talk and invite everyone who's watching, not only to come to the museum, but to tell others about the museum and to come and participate. People can participate in so many ways by sharing their history, by sharing artifacts from their family. It could be as simple as a wooden spoon that you used to use, in a family. It could be literally anything. It could be an old piece of clothing. It could be a piece of equipment that no longer works, but because it's still kept in the garage, we'd be happy to accept it as a reference point for others to see, oh, this is the type of equipment that was used in the Caribbean during this period of time. And most importantly, we need people to work as volunteers, as docents, as people who help to do research, as people who bring their oral history. There's so much to be shared, and we want it from everyone. Meaning, if you're from Puerto Rico and you only speak Spanish, we welcome you. If you're from any of the French islands, the Martinique, so we welcome everyone. This is not an English-speaking museum. It is for everyone of all languages, so including the Dutch, the French, the Spanish, and the English-speaking islands and or countries that consider themselves to be Caribbean. And I'll get off the soapbox so that others can participate, but I really want to make sure that the call is here so that everyone who's watching tonight knows that they are welcome. Also, even if you're, oh, sorry, I didn't know I was giving. So yeah, I was just getting some feedback on my microphone, so I apologize. But I really want to make sure people understand that even those who are not from the Caribbean, we want to invite to come and participate, because it is very important that everyone, whether it be like Claudius was saying, it could be people of any ethnicity, any race, or any cultural background. We want to invite you to come so that you can learn about us, because you may have misconceptions, and we want to educate you about who we are as people from the Caribbean. So we really have open arms, and we want everyone to come to Island Space Caribbean Museum. We are in the Westfield Broward Mall in Plantation, Florida, right here in Broward County, the center of South Florida. And we really would like to have people come out. We open every Thursday through Sunday. So 4 days a week we open currently from 11 a.m. until 7 p.m. And we look forward to seeing you. Please come on out. Come and participate. Please share. And you can also look at our website, which is islandspacefl.org. So islandspacefl.org.
So David, thank you for that. Tell us about your team. Who are your team members?
Well, I'm talking to one of our future board members, Don Wilson, at this time, because now that I know that you want to be on the board, we can definitely use the help, and we will reach out to you to become a part of what we're doing. We typically will have someone join a committee first, and then we will bring them to the full board after they show their mettle. But our team is how would I say, when we started the nonprofit, which runs the museum space, we first went for people who we knew have a track record of giving to the community, people who have done what we consider to be great work in the community. And then what has happened as a result of that is that, when we are doing good work and people see what's going on, then other people hear about it and they get involved as well. So Yes.
I know you. So you're the co-founder along with Khalib, right?
Khalib, yes. So David Muir and Khalib Thompson are the co-founders, and we happen to be business partners as well. So we spend an awful lot of time talking about ideas and things that we want to do, and in that way, the Caribbean Museum has certainly come out of all of our other interactions. Those who are not familiar would know maybe a little bit about Khalib's television production. Taste the Islands was a nationally syndicated television show on PBS. That show with Chef Irie did very, very well. I was a part of the behind the scenes working on that project, which was her brainchild. And that's how we started working more closely together. We ended up having a spin-off from that event, from that television show, where we created a food festival, and that led us to the path of creating the museum. But in terms of the team, yes, myself and Khalid, we also have, as a vice president, is Lloyd Stanberry. Lloyd Stanberry has a rich history in music. Claudius, I'm not sure if you're familiar with him, but he was the co-founders of RFM in Jamaica, along with being, really one of the foremost legal minds in the entertainment industry for many, many years. He's written books on the music and how reggae has impacted the world for Reggae Month. He's a wealth of history. He's also been honored with the Order of Distinction of Jamaica. So Lloyd Stanberry, who is a vice president, just an amazing man. Also on our board, I'll go through quickly. Andrea John Baptiste, Sharice Morgan Joseph, Sharon McLennan, Carl Russell. You put me on the spot. I'm trying to remember everybody on the board. Tamara Philippou from Haiti. Who am I forgetting? I'm in trouble now. But I tell you what's funniest about me thinking about it is that I actually walked away from another computer where we are actually having a committee meeting of the island space right now, and I left that meeting to come and be on this show. Hopefully, when I finish here, we typically meet on Wednesdays, every Wednesday. I'll catch the end tail end of that meeting, but I'm dedicated here right now.
Thank you. And I'm seeing some of the comments that we're getting a lot of static and feedback on your end, David.
I heard.
Yeah. So sorry for that, but I do want to say something about, just what I've listened to and what I do know about it. And David, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just so thankful and fascinated. And I think it's a beautiful journey. Because you had the idea, you and Khalib, and just following your passion and vision to see this come through, finding a location. I read that this was a restaurant, so you guys had to go in and gut the restaurant and deal with all the rats and all the stuff in there and clean it up and make it into, and when you think of it, when you're sitting there and you're like, oh my God, so many people are doing amazing thing and I'm not doing anything that is making impact. Whoever thought of having a Caribbean museum, but you did. And you guys had the vision and the team to put it together. So my message to people that are sitting at home thinking every idea, every concept is gone, it's not. There's just a niche out there that you have to find your niche and your passion and enjoy what you're doing and bring it to life. I mean, this is 2021, the year to make change. If you're sitting at home, do something different. Everything happens for a reason. You have a setback in life, get up and do something with it, educate yourself, listen to I learned so much in having conversations with people that come on this show. So, I know David's highlighting, to come there and see it, but I also want people to understand the hard work and just following that passion and dream to make it happen, and having the right people on your team with you certainly helps as well. So thank you for what you're doing. And whether you're Caribbean, non-Caribbean, to me, non-Caribbean people need to go there because you need to understand what we're about, and so thank you for doing this. And I certainly need to come myself. COVID-19 has me scared of going anywhere, but I will. So Claudius.
Yeah, man, I'm here, right here.
Yeah, man. So tell me once again, thank you for joining us tonight. Tell us about your music, what you're doing. What does reggae mean to you, like from growing up and where you are now? This is Reggae Month. We're all passionate about our culture, our heritage. I mean, I wish I could sing, and I can't. David and I were going to sing tonight, but we didn't practice at all. But I love my reggae music. To me, there's no other music like reggae music on this planet. And so any opportunity I get to speak to someone that's passionate about it, I will. So tell us, what was your passion? Who did you listen to growing up?
Well, you know, before I say that, let me just introduce you to one of my songs. I know I see David over there looking like him, say, wonder if him sound good. But let me just introduce him to one of my reggae songs. I was going to sing another song first, but I said, let me just sing one of my roots reggae song first. Right, David? And if you like it, give me 2 thumbs up. If not, just don't say nothing. All right, this is it, yeah? So let me just start and then I'll tell you what's happening. Let me just get it. Oh, come on. Yeah, man. It's coming. 1 second. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Is the music loud? I need to get louder?
No, it's good.
Good. Oh, yeah. So my God, so then I'm on my knees, crying out to you, Lord. I'm say begging you, Lord, to come and rescue me. Forgive me, oh Lord, as I forgive those who trespass against me. Oh Lord, I give you praise. I say yes, you are my Lord, oh yes, you are me King. Me nah go stand from place, you up your name, me nah stop sing. You cover me when me go out and when me coming in. So I will be so foolish not to give you everything. You defend me from the darts and what the devil want to fling. When the way look rough, you still create a path within. You take me out, me pain, you take me out, me suffering. Come on, your angels round the plane, no anytime me go foreign. Put a blood chill on me house and no demon can come in. Yes, I'm covered by your blood. Yes, protected by me King. I only give you all my praise and all my thanksgiving. You've been my first, you've been my last, you've been my next of kin. Hey, I'm on my knees, crying out to you, Lord. I'm begging you, Lord, to come and rescue me. Hey, forgive me, oh Lord, as I forgive those who trespass against me. Oh Lord, I give you praise. And in this short period, oh yes, you sustain. Are you are the one that fix my heart when time is broken? You are my gift, oh Lord, yes, you are my token. Sometimes I don't feel like to pray, but I never leave your side, no day. I'm on my face, oh Lord, I praise you, God. I surrender to your ways, and I'm on my knees, crying out to you, Lord. I'm so begging you, Lord, to come and rescue me. Hey, forgive me, oh Lord, as I forgive those who trespass against me. Hey, oh Lord, I give you praise. Hey, oh yeah, oh Lord, I give you praise. Oh, my Lord, yeah. Oh Lord, David, join me now.
Yeah, man.
Hey, oh Lord, oh Lord, I give you praise. Hey, oh Lord, I give you praise. Thank you, Mom.
You know, you're shot. Enough love. Virgin, Claudius. Yo, big up. If you don't keep playing the track, you gotta sing it along for you. But, no, man, we're good. But no, listen, extremely love the hook, love the very catchy, very positive. I mean, we have Deacon Osgood. I know it's Dr. Osgood today, but she's also Deacon Osgood. And trust me, that's very. We'd love to hear music that's praising and really giving honor. And that was wonderful. That song is beautiful.
Enough respect, man. So let me take off all of them things and make me sound good 1 second. Yeah. Yeah, that was just for the music, you know.
We love it. Lots of hearts going up in the chat and thumbs up.
No,
as I'm listening to your soulful voice, I'm thinking how happy your wife must be. I hope you sing for her all the time.
Yeah, she don't let me go on tour by myself, so she's always there.
Oh, but it's the private sessions that.
No, yeah, well, when we're doing the private session, it's a little bit different because, you know, the music that she likes this music, but we sing like songs like this if we're doing a private session. I'm gonna just give you a quick one. So sing quick, just one verse, and then I talk to you about what my music I like. So this is it. Sitting down here, thinking about every time we kiss. Sitting down here, thinking about your tender lips. All right, now I'll talk about what I'm.
The man, Virgin, you reach tender lips and then cut it.
Yeah, man, because don't worry yourself. We'll do a live show soon, and we're gonna have Dr. Goodman, David, and Miss Dad. You're gonna be in the front seat, yeah.
Man, the chat is blowing up. Oh Lord, Miss Matilda's a private session. Jesus, you can't let them hanging, man. So that is Supa, ladies. Supa. Remember that name.
Yeah, but you know,
tell us.
I grew up. My mother was a church growing Christian who pleaded blood upon Satan every second, and I am glad that we have a mommy like that. My father was more of a researcher. He's more African-minded in terms of his mindset. So getting those two people in my life exposed me to a lot of things when it comes to music. But when I started to really pay attention to reggae music, I was very tender because my father listened to reggae music. But I remember a song that was very influential to me I remember seeing like South Africa back in the days when, just kind of understanding like white people and black people. I remember here in Jamaica. So it's kind of crazy to see white people beating black people and dogs biting them, and I remember when I used to listen to Bob Marley songs, and he had a song, even though it wasn't for South Africa at the time, but Africa, Alibari, Zimbabwe. And I realized how powerful music was in terms of touching and reaching people, because I saw a show that he did, and it was such a powerful show in Africa. I'm like, yo, I can't wait to be a voice like that. So Bob Marley was a very influential part of my life growing up because I like the positive message that he sang. And not only that, but the musicianship, just like I heard the song a while ago, the music, it just hit part of my soul. So I became a part of the reggae movement, So in short, Dennis Brown, Bob Marley, Garnet Silk. I just did a song. I just did a cover of Garnet Silk. Christ in his kingly character. Christ in his kingly character. So all of these songs are songs that were very powerful in my growing up. And no, it's a part of me. All of these songs, as I realized how powerful it was in reaching communities, how powerful it was in liberating people, how powerful it was in educating people. So reggae music, all of these musicians, Bob Marley, Dennis Brown, Peter Tosh, Burning Spear, Garnet Silk, those powerful musicians that impact my repertoire. When you talk about Tupac, I used to burn the God a baby. I know about that too. Tupac was a very influential, because back in when I high school, now it was Tupac, Tupac, it was always Tupac, because I like music that, sometimes people say, oh, the music is like, oh, it's too dark, but I like when a person can really write from them heart and really write what is going on in them, so you can really picture, you can really paint a good picture. It's not like some of the musicians know that singing. So you can't really understand what is happening, which I don't beat people for trying creativity, but I prefer the music with a lot of substance. So I will say Tupac was also a very good influence for me in my repertoire when it comes to music. And you can definitely go touch, like in Jamaica, you have to touch like Celine Dion, because everybody's like, every Jamaican person listens to Celine, Celine Dion. So I don't know. So she was also influential because my mom was listening to her all the time. And then the whole country and Western from my mom's side. So I was influenced by a lot of different music, but my personal preference was reggae music and the ones I named before, Did I? And I mean, music, reggae music is so, for Black people, I mean, it's such a powerful music. I mean, anywhere I go in the world, I got to place with just pure white people, pure Asian people, and it just, to see just when the bass roll and the unity that it brings, everybody's just like, dancing. And I'm like, this is such a powerful music. It's so sad that on this side of the world, it's not, like North America, it's not embraced as a powerful, it is here now, but it's not as embraced as it is in the rest of the world, based on my knowledge. You understand? Based on what I've seen. So I don't know if I answered the question. I'm gonna try my best.
So what age did you start with music? What age would you say?
I remember when I was 6-year-old, I had a pastor, and I remember writing my first song when I was 6. And I always like to say this because this was actually such a powerful thing for me, because every time I remember, it was like, there's a song, I love the pit patter of the raindrops, I love the buzz of the bee, I think I love the best, the very, very best, it's to know that God loves me. So my verse is, if God didn't love me, he wouldn't give me shelter. If God didn't love me, he wouldn't give me shelter. If God didn't love me, he wouldn't give me shelter. Praise his name. And that was my song, and I loved it. I sang it everywhere. That was my verse. And I'm like, yeah, that's the first time I've ever written something that I hear other people sing. I'm like, what? So you write something here, as simple as it is, but you see other people sing it, I'm like, wow, But I'm going to add, there was another time, Beanie Man had a song with Chevelle Franklin called She's a Dancehall Queen for Life, gonna explode like dynamite. So when in church, I was always trying to sing the song, not that way. I want to try to put some God words to it. So I'm like, me I can sing about Jesus Christ, I make the day and I make the night, and to him me I can give him my life, the one who died on Calvary. When I'm singing that song now, I remember going to a church, and them time that Jamaica churches never accept it, especially me as a Christian with locks. It's different thing, it's not America. So I went to a church and ready to sing. Me, I got sing about Jesus Christ. The people came and took the mic from me. And like, nope, that's not God music. And I'm like, what? And I was about 12 or 11 or 13, like not more than that. And I remember my mom just called me outside, and I started to bark. I was embarrassed so much. So I went outside and I was bawling. And my mother came to me and said, no matter what anybody said to you, if this is what you feel like doing, go and do it to the best of your ability. And awesome. that seal it up in my head. That's why that's where I'm at right now.
I love your mom. And the reason I asked you what age you started, and I was hoping that...
Sorry, I'm going to start. My mom's a teacher in Jamaica. She's a principal. So she's a teacher by every way.
So, what I love about it, and I'm glad that was your answer, that you did have a supportive parent or parents, because the message that I want to give to a lot of parents through this show is that, this is 2021, and supporting your kids growing up in the islands, a lot of, we hear it all the time. You need to be a doctor, lawyer, you need to follow this line or that line. And growing up in Jamaica is so different for us being Caribbean American, because I learned my kids' lives are so different here than how I grew up. And it's just been so supportive. And my brother and I had this conversation. It's like, can you imagine if we had that support system as youths, as children, how much more you could have accomplished in life? Not that you're sitting back now and regretting it. That's the journey you went on. But I think it's so important that we encourage our children and support our children, whether it's to be a musician, whether it's to play an instrument, or, that's one of the things we try to do on the Caribbean Edge Kids Show, is to showcase kids reading and inspiring and motivating each other and playing instruments, anything you want to do. So David, that's another thought too. Hopefully, I haven't been there yet, for the kids and the Caribbean and the storytelling. Oh my gosh, we have so much culture within our Black culture and our Caribbean culture. Yes.
Hopefully when we return to in-person events, you will start to host your, how do we say, your Caribbean Edge kids at the museum. Hopefully, you will bring them in to play ring games and to, do all the things.
Absolutely. Me and Auntie Sophie coming down, and I go and sit right there with the kids, because me love me some Auntie Sophie.
Well,
and Dr. Amina Blackwood Meeks, I am bringing them all, Miss Norma Darby, and of course our Council General. We all go and come there and celebrate our children. I am just so excited that we can give back so much. Everyone on this panel is giving back so much to the next generation. Oh my God, the possibilities are endless. And if you're watching this show and you have an idea or concept, let us know, reach out to us. That's what we're here for. But thank you, David. We are come.
So Sophie was there last week, and she came and she's doing Reggae Heritage Month. So she's been doing quite a bit in the museum now in the last 2 weeks. So you have to catch up now.
I have to catch up. I don't know, every time TV is doing their thing, because they are featuring so much of us culturally, and just Judy herself as well. I mean, there's so many rich, powerful people, just ordinary people that are just impacting change. I'm proud of every single person that I've been able to work with and touch. And the best thing for the Caribbean Edge kids is when the kids call you and leave your messages after the show and say, Auntie Dawn, I can't wait to come back. Thanks for having me on the Caribbean Edge, and it's amazing, everything we're doing.
I'm going to stick in here to Dawn, if you don't mind. I'm going to say to Dr. Osgood, we should have something in place that we can bring the Broward kids. When we're back to doing school trips and visits and so on, we need to have a curriculum surrounding history that kids can come and do some sort of activity at the museum, get to learn more about this part of history, and just really to incorporate that. And it's for future discussion, but it's something we should definitely be looking at. I welcome that discussion, Dr. Osgood.
Yeah, thank you. I was excited to hear you say that. In my district, I have the Old Dillard Museum, which captures a lot of the African-American history here. And you're also in District 5 in Plantation. So as you're there, go ahead and begin to reach out to the schools that are nearby. So you can already start building the relationship. So once we're out of COVID, it's just a matter of things materializing.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Can I just ask Dr. Goodman,
Osgood.
Sorry, my apologies. But not only, but I've toured schools in South Florida, but I'm coming from Jamaica. We toured a lot of the Christian schools, and a lot of the schools that I've toured in South Florida, especially because as I said, we talk about purpose, walking in purpose, getting confidence, being a better you, walking in the confidence of yourself. So that's the basis of the tour. But we use music as an icebreaker, you understand? And we go into the schools, and I see the power of that right around the world. We were supposed to do it this year because we had 2020, we had 3 weeks from April 17th to May something, I don't remember, April. So we had some schools and everything got canceled because of the COVID. and everything. So this is something that I want to do, and I would love to come when I'm back in Florida. I'll just come and sit and see how this thing can kick a little bit further on this side of the world, because it's very good in the UK. You understand? And it's good in Jamaica, but it's getting there in America. But I really want to connect with Black kids.
Certainly, I have about 32,000 of them that I can. We have some phenomenal arts programs, music programs in many of our schools in the district. Our kids are very, very talented. I have a few performing art magnet schools in my district with high performing students when it comes to the arts and when it comes to academia. So I would love to have you come. I personally like Jamaican music when I go to Montego Bay.
Yeah, I'm from Montego Bay.
Whether they're singing, Christian music or they're singing secular music, the melodious voices are just, I don't even have words to describe that, along with the fish and the festivals. I go by Scotchies and I'm on.
Wow, she's like from Jamaica, yo.
Yeah, man, Dr.RosalindOsgood.
I live about when in Jamaica. I live about 10 minutes from Scotchies.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So probably I met you there already, you know. Can I just? I can't leave the program without doing, because this was a song I wanted to sing. And because you just said Montego Bay a while ago, this is a song I wanted to sing because this is my community. And this song is a prayer for my community, Montego Bay. But for the people listening, you can take Montego Bay out of it and put your community's name in it, because this is a very powerful song. This song came about when, after Jazz and Blues in Jamaica, the last one I did, my Congo player, we were going to Sweden. We were supposed to go to Sweden. So everybody gave me the passport. He was supposed to drop off his passport at my house, and he fell off his bike and he hit his head, and he was in the hospital for a while, and then he passed, which was a very sad thing. And then this song kind of dropped in my heart for my nation out of that experience, because healing is needed in my community, So I just sing this song. Montego Bay on strong, I beg you never give up. Montego Bay on strong, I beg you never give in. Montego Bay on strong, I beg you never give up. Montego Bay on strong, I beg you never give in. I pray for every muscle, every vein. I pray for it healing in Jesus' name. I pray for your mind. I pray for your spine. I pray for your back. I pray for your smile. Healing is your bread. You're healing me, I claim. Get up and walk in a Jesus' name. You shall not die, but declare the words of the Most High. I speak it in the atmosphere. Montego Bay on strong, I beg you never give up. Montego Bay on strong, I beg you never give in. Montego Bay on strong, I beg you never give up. Montego Bay on strong, I beg you never give in. I pray for the spirit in you, feel make you get up and walk. Spirit in you, feel make you get up and talk. I pray for your renewed mind. Me say me pray for your renewed smile. I pray for the spirit in you, feel make your every nerve feel. I declare it over you, and yes, your miracle is real. You're more than a conqueror. You have more nations to conquer, sir. Montego Bay on strong, I beg you never give up. Montego Bay on strong, I beg you never give in. Montego Bay on strong, I beg you never So I'll introduce the legendary Dean Fraser. Take it away.
Kingston home strong. John Wilson home strong. Dr.RosalindOsgood home strong.
Hey, Fort Lauderdale home strong. I beg you never give up. Oh, proud home strong. I beg you never give in. Miami Dade home strong. I beg you never give up. Montego Bay home strong. So I'm gonna call some places in Montego Bay now. I pray for Granville, Catrinan, Flankers, CLM, Star Spring, Flower Hill, Lilliput, Long Bay, Norwood, Devon, Make It Up, Blood Lane, Gully, Canterbury, Hart Street and Railway Lane, Montego Bay home strong. I beg you never give up. Montego Bay home strong. I beg you never give in. Montego Bay home strong. I beg you never give up. Montego Bay home. I beg you never give in.
You man, you bust, yo. Please.
On the Caribbean edge.
Yo, let me tell you something.
Oh my God. So tell us about that song. What's the background? What's the influence?
When
my
his
friend passed away, man.
No, let me tell you what happened.
Go ahead.
When he fell off his bike, he went to the hospital. He was the only white person in the band. He came from California. He was living in Jamaica because he loved Jamaica. So when he fell off his bike, he went to the hospital, and first of all, we're looking for him for 2 days and couldn't find him. So we found out he was in the hospital. And a friend of mine went to the hospital, but the music I was playing on the radio was just a radio music, you know? So they said to me, they wanted me to write a song. They wanted me to write, he wanted me to write a song so I can put it in his ears, so that they have his earphones so that we could just bless him up. So the song actually started because he played the congos. It was, Congo man all strong, I beg you never give up. Congo man all strong, I beg you never give in. And that was where it birthed. But while he was there for 40 days, and then after the 40 days, he passed. And when he passed, it was very powerful for me, because I remember like how quick, because he was so in love with Montego Bay, he was so in love with Jamaica, he was always there. He was like, I don't want to go back to California. He said to me, if he died, funny, he never wanted to go be buried in California. He wanted to be burned in an urn and just thrown in the sea. That's exactly what he said to me. And it's funny that that's exactly what happened. You understand? So it was a powerful song, but out of that, and his love for Montego Bay and his love for my community as a white man coming from all the way from California, and he was always like, he was the oldest one. He was like 50 at the time, but he was always like so dedicated to the reggae music. And he was, someone else, he kind of birthed that song, from the inspiration of the Most High, that's it.
Love.
Wow, thank you. You're amazing. So I'm going to wrap up, but I'm going to ask you a favor, is to go back and for the female viewers, which most of them are female, I need you to haul and pull up the song, like along with what your wife hears, because they said it was too short. I really did. So, Dr. Osgood, while him figure that part out for us, can you tell us what you'd like people to leave with from you as far as what Black History Month or Reggae Month means to you? And we're so glad that you love our beloved Jamaica.
Yes, it's something that we have to continue to celebrate, and we have to teach it to our children so that they're empowered and encouraged, that they don't live life thinking that everything for them started at slavery, that they understand that they come from a rich heritage of strong people of color that were leaders, kings, and rulers. A lot of their attitude and their flavor and pizzazz is because of the power that's on the inside of them. We have to also help them express it in a way that's going to add value to the world. A lot of times we shut them down. We want them to sit down and be quiet instead of teaching them how to be expressive, to sing, dance, speak, stand up for yourself. I also want to say to listeners, especially parents, please make sure that your children are engaged in education during the pandemic. If they are at home, if they are online, if they are struggling, please reach out to their principals at their institutions of education and let somebody know. Our kids are suffering from major attrition in the pandemic, and it's going to be very hard to catch them up. So we need to pay attention. We can't just leave them at the computer, let them play video games all day. We need to prioritize their education and help support them during this time of this pandemic so that they can continue to strive. You know, that's one of the trademarks of African-American people. Mm-hmm. In fire, we strive.
Amen.
In tough times, we strive. In America, we like to be told that we are surviving, but we're striving. And when we look at the rich history over the years that we have and the value that we've added to this nation, we are people that strive because most of us live the basic principle of the Bible. When we're at our weakest, God is at his best. Amen. So God never leaves us. He never gives us up, or he never gives up on us. No matter how far down the road we go, he's always there to forgive us, to strengthen us, and build us. So prioritize your children's education and tell them about the Lord. Those are the two things that will help them accomplish anything else that they set their hearts and minds to accomplish.
Thank you, Dr. Osgood, and it's such a pleasure having you tonight. And we see that you enjoyed yourself. The food, I see a lot of comments about the rich Jamaican food, and you mentioned some of the best ones, the fish and our festival and Bammy. Jesus, please, we need some of that. So David, I see special requests in the chat, especially from G. Wright saying you should sing. I don't know if that's going to be part of your closing, but I'm turning it over to you.
Well, I don't want to embarrass Claudius, but I'm going to say, Kingston holds strong. Right? That's where I come from.
I beg you never give up.
That's right. and since I'm currently in Fort Lauderdale, I'm also going to say, Fort Lauderdale holds strong. And you never give in.
Yeah, you sound like a star.
No, but I'm happy to have been on this show. This is a very varied and interesting show. I'm a fan. Claudius, I've known Dr. Osgood for years, and I know the work she does, and I truly appreciate her. I'm a fan of Dawn's because Dawn has been doing this wonderful show that's sharing our culture, you know, in a different way than what we're doing with the Caribbean Museum, but also extremely important. But to meet you, Claudius, on this call, never knowing your music before and to hear what you've presented, I got to tell you, man, I love your vibe. I love your energy. I want to get to know you more about you and your music. And I'm wishing you every strength because from what I've heard, you should really be moving forward in all strength. So I'm glad to hear that you've been touring. And I hope that the streams also will continue to be a major success. And in closing for me, just to talk about, you know, I'm passionate about a lot of things. And I've come from music. I worked in the music business for a very long time. It was very, very good to me, but it was also something I didn't want to make my life work. I changed from music and I became, maybe not many people know this, I was a social worker for many years. And so I worked with young people as a social worker. I also am a teacher and I teach photography now more than anything else. And I'm happy to be that. But in all that I've done and in all of my life, and I've done so many things, including work with families in counseling and many of those types of things. My last full-time job was working in a hospital system. I worked for Memorial Hospital here in South Florida as a counselor. And so I have a lot of history, but what I want to leave everybody with is that what we can do to connect and unify is more important than anything else, right? It's how we share and how we love. And I think that there's a great opportunity for you to do that by getting involved in community activities. And I want to encourage people who are listening to the show to encourage others. Even if you are going to do it, you alone can't make, the change that we see in the world. It starts with us, but it's also critically important that everyone get involved. So get involved and then encourage others to get involved, because when we really truly come together in love and in sharing and in connecting, then we can make tremendous changes to how the world is. And then I want to leave everyone one last thought on that, which is to say that no one necessarily knows ultimately what is the perfect way to go about anything, but the only way we will ever get to what we want is by taking action. So now is the time to take action. We took action and opened the museum, and I really encourage that the community comes and takes ownership of the museum. It is for us, and it is by us, and it is something that you should all come and take ownership of. This is your place to educate your family, your place to learn about your family. It's your place to share your culture and to celebrate your heritage. So I welcome everyone's participation. Get involved. islandspacefl.org. That's where you start. islandspacefl.org. It is for us people, the people watching the show. It is for you.
Yes. So thank you, David. And yes, it's all about love. And a lot of good vibes in the chat, my guys. And I thank you, all the viewers that have tuned in tonight. And please remember to share this as well. Neil Martin said he can't wait to learn to sing. He's actually ordered his voice on Amazon. He has Prime, so his is gonna be great. So I don't think we're gonna be taking singing advice from Neil Martin. But before we get over to Claudius, I want to say a quote from Nelson Mandela to tie in what everyone's talked about tonight, and it's: education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. And what we do is we invite you to listen to us and to come on the show and be a guest as we continue to educate, motivate, and inspire each other. It's not just the education you receive in the school system, but what you're giving back to, like David and Dr. Osgood have said, to the rest of the world and the world that we're leaving behind for future generations as well. So I'm so proud to be part of this panel tonight. You guys have made me smile a lot. And Claudius, take us away.
See if I can hear you. All right, so I was trying to look for the track for the whole song there a while ago. I'll find it, but I'll sing another one that I sing for her. I hope you like this one too, yeah? I hope you like this one. Hope it works. Let me see. Let me see if it's working. I'm trying. If not, I'll find another one. But people, so it goes. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Ooh, yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Ooh, yeah. I found love, yeah. I found love in the sweet embrace. I found love I found love, love, yeah. I found love in those arms of yours. I found love, yeah. I found love. Take you to a place that only lovers go. Take you to a place I'll never let you go. Take you to a place you be my wife, yeah. Take you to a place you stand beside me. Take you to a place you be my best and strength. Take you to a place you my love till the end. Take you to a place. 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 I found love in the
Got it, Supa. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for sharing the songs that you All right, guys. Well, have a beautiful night from the Caribbean Edge, from Dr. Osgood, from David Muir, from Island Space Caribbean Museum. We thank you and your team for the awesome work you're doing. And for Claudius England, we so appreciate you being here. Have a beautiful night. One love.